Hello, this is Frances welcoming you to the 1859th edition of the Enfield Talking newspaper, Dateline, 14th of June 2012. The readers this week are Elizabeth, Malcolm and myself, with Dave on the controls. The items that we will be reading come from our local newspapers, the Enfield Gazette, the Enfield Advertiser, and we didn't manage to get the Enfield Independent this week, but they are their copyright. Local stories include Teenage Boy Appears in Court, Concerns Over Bulge Class, Inquiry into Waste Plant Plans Suspended, and Council Reverses Parking Penalty. But first of all, we've got some special news items. One is a reminder that Enfield Vision are holding their AGM on Monday the 2nd of July at the Park Avenue Disability Centre, 65C Park Avenue, Enfield, from 7 p.m. until 9 p.m. Refreshments will be available after the meeting, and if you are able to attend, please ring the office on 0208 351 7259. And then a second message, don't forget that Enfield Vision and Enfield Association for the Blind will hold their monthly drop-in on Thursday the 21st of June, again at the Park Avenue Disability Centre from 10:30 to 12:30. If you're experiencing any problems receiving your Enfield Talking newspaper, please phone Diane de Jersey on 0208 805 6578. She is your listener's representative and will be pleased to help you. And at the end of side 2, please remember to turn over the address label in your postal packet, put the cassette into the packet and return it to us as soon as possible in readiness for the next edition. And now Malcolm will read the first item of local news.
A 15-year-old boy has gone on trial for the murder of a teenager who was stabbed to death last year. Leroy James, 14, from Edmonton Green, was found by paramedics at 5:30 p.m. on August the 17th, lying slumped near a concrete wall in Ponders End Recreation Ground. He was pronounced dead at the scene. The teenage defendant, who cannot be named for legal reasons, is charged with murder and possession of an offensive weapon. Leroy, who was a pupil at Aylwood Academy in Windmill Road, died just 4 months after another Edmonton teenager, Negus McLean, was killed in a knife attack. And his death came just a few weeks before Stephen Grisales died of his wounds in hospital after being stabbed in College Close, Edmonton. The teenager denies both charges, and the trial continues.
Parents of children at Walker Primary will next week appeal to councillors to rethink plans for a bulge class at the school. Members of the Walker Parents Action Group believe imposing a bulge class next year, even one that was off-site, would be unsafe because there's not enough room at the school. They claim children at the school in Waterfall Road, Southgate, are currently being taught in corridors because of lack of space. Education chiefs at Enfield Council look poised to introduce an off-site bulge class for reception-age children at Walker in order to cope with demand for school places in Southgate. The move came after children living just a few minutes' walk from Walker were not given a place at the school. More than 600 people have signed a petition against having a bulge class at the primary, and members of the group are to appeal to members of the council's cabinet at their next meeting, urging them not to impose the class on the school. Irene Salas, chairwoman of Walker PTA, said, "We understand the pressure that Enfield Council faces and we sympathise with the disappointed local parents, but there's no escaping the fact that any proposal for a bulge class here is fundamentally unsafe. We have the smallest, most overcrowded school in Southgate. Walker was originally built for 210 children, and we now have 420 crammed in, double our capacity. The council would be failing in its duty of care if it was to impose a bulge class at Walker." We're asking the council to look at introducing a bulge class at a different school, and in the long term, the Action Group wants Walker to be rebuilt as a 3-form entry school instead of 2-form as it currently is. Eva Orhan, Cabinet Member for Schools and Children's Services, said the council was looking at a number of ways to provide extra school places in Southgate and had not yet made the decision on whether there would be a bulge class. We're in discussions with the head and governing body at Walker School with a view to permanently expanding it and improving the buildings, she added.
A public inquiry about plans to build a major waste plant in New Southgate was suspended yesterday, just 2 hours into its first session. An examination of the North London Waste Plan, NLWP, which includes proposals to make land available for a 15,000 square metre waste processing plant in Pinkham Way, opened at Camden Town Hall in the morning. The plan sets out how 7 North London boroughs, Enfield, Barnet, Haringey, Camden, Hackney, Islington and Waltham Forest, will establish common waste planning policies. Under current proposals, the plant would manufacture bricks from waste material, which would then have been burnt at an incinerator elsewhere. Campaigners from the Pinkham Way Alliance, made up of residents from Enfield, Barnet and Haringey, are worried about toxins that could be produced in the process of forming the blocks. North London Waste Authority, which manages waste disposal for the 7 boroughs, has said it will take residents' concerns into consideration when designing the plant on the borders of Enfield, Barnet and Haringey. An office from the Planning Inspectorate was due to hear from all the parties concerned over 5 days this month. However, just 2 hours into proceedings, the inspector adjourned the hearing indefinitely to consider objections which had been lodged by the East of England Waste Technical Advisory Body representing several counties north of London. A spokesman for Hertfordshire County Council said it was concerned that the NLWP's proposals to send waste materials to the county were incompatible with its own plans for receiving waste. Barry Rawlings, Barnet Labour councillor and an opponent of the waste processing site, said the decision to suspend the hearing spelled trouble for the NLWP and the Pinkham Way project. He said if the inspectorate was happy with the plan, then the inquiry would be carrying on. Without the plan, the NLWA could still push ahead with the Pinkham Way plant, but it would not be backed by any strategic overview and it would be subject to challenges. A Camden Council spokesman denied that the inspector had rejected the plan and said that all options were still on the table. He said a decision will be taken whether to continue the examination in the coming weeks.
Enfield Council has performed a dramatic U-turn and quashed a parking ticket after initially refusing to do so, despite admitting a motorist had no way of paying. Marina Sava was unable to buy a ticket after parking in a pay and display space in Devonshire Road, Palmer's Green, because all of the machines in the road had been turned off. She assumed that the parking restrictions were invalid and ran over to a bank, leaving her car for a few minutes, and was stunned when she returned and saw a traffic warden had slapped a penalty notice on her car. When the machines are off, you just can't pay, an angry Miss Sava, 46, of Ladderswood Way, New Southgate, told the Advertiser. To be honest, I thought the traffic warden didn't know the machines weren't working and the council would automatically reimburse me. Miss Sava promptly paid the £55 charge and wrote to the council thinking it would be a straightforward case of getting her money back. However, she was shocked by the council's response. In a letter, the authority admitted that the machines had been turned off while sewer maintenance work was carried out, but said that was no excuse for not buying a ticket. The pay and display parking on Devonshire Road has been suspended while the sewer works are being carried out, the letter said, and went on, there are insufficient grounds for waiving the notice. The notice is now closed. Miss Sava, Director of Focus Training UK in Bowes Road, New Southgate, was outraged and said, "I'd be mortified if any of my trainees behaved in that manner. It's fraud." After being after being contacted by the advertiser, the council insisted the enforcement of the penalty charge notice was the correct decision. A spokesman added, "Over the past few weeks, Devonshire Road experienced major roadworks. During that time, the pay and display bays were suspended, and the road bays were for residents only." The council changed all the road signs, changed the road markings, and had extra signage on the pay and display machines to show the area had changed. However, the council later reversed its decision and said it would refund Miss Sava's money as a gesture of goodwill. Miss Sava thanked the advertiser and added, "I'm reluctant to congratulate the council wholeheartedly. I would be extra pleased if it reimbursed everybody fined during that period. It shouldn't just be me. It should be all those who received fines."
4 tiers of sponge and carefully laid red, white and blue icing were responsible for one skilled cake maker's crowning glory. Figgin Kamal, the winner of the Crafty Chef's Jubilee-inspired charity bake-off, constructed the sponge and icing tower over a series of nights while her 2 young children were tucked up in bed, far from the tempting sights and smells of Mum's baking. Figgin, of Tasteville Park Road, Winchmore Hill, began her baking career 4 years ago, after she had bought a cake for her son's first birthday and thought, "Never again. I thought that no matter what they're into, I want to be able to make their cakes," said the mum of 2. Revealing the inspiration behind her patriotic concoction, she said, "I just thought it was a good opportunity to put all my Jubilee ideas into something." Figgin admits that her talents are in demand among her friends and family, who regularly call on the 31-year-old to whip up a cake for high days and holidays. And she revealed she has been thinking about turning her hobby into a full-time career. "I've thought about starting my own cake decorating business one day," she told the advertiser, adding that she is in the process of getting new floors laid in her kitchen before seeking approval from the council to set up shop.
Heavy rain, high winds and winter wardrobe temperatures have wreaked havoc across the borough in the past week. Commuters were left stranded on Friday after the stormy conditions pushed a tree onto the overhead cables at Hackney Downs, bringing the railway line between Enfield Town and Liverpool Street to a standstill for several hours. The miserable weather added to commuters' woes at the beginning of this week. Exit 25 on the M25 clockwise was closed just before 8:40 a.m. on Monday after the slip road was flooded by the previous night's torrential downpour. A spokeswoman from the Highways Agency explained that a gully sucker had to be used to drain the vast amount of surface water from the slip road. But while one lane reopened just after 10 a.m., the second did not open until 5:15, just in time for the evening rush hour. And despite fears that if the wet weather continues, the summer's Olympic Games could be something of a washout, the team at the Lee Valley Whitewater Centre has reassured residents and spectators that there is no chance the venue will flood. A spokeswoman from the Lee Valley Regional Park Authority explained it would be extremely rare for the rain to be so heavy that its backup drainage system kicks in, with excess water being pumped through pipes and into the sewerage systems. And the forecast for the week ahead, with more rain expected in southeast England, could dampen the spirits of those who were confidently anticipating typical June sunshine for the N21 festival, which kicks off this Saturday.
The site in Enfield Wash looks set to be the new home of the borough's first independently established free school. Enfield Heights Academy, which is due to open in September, will be based in Pitfield Way, with a new school building due to be completed in September 2013. Until the building is ready, children starting in the reception and Year 1 classes will be housed in temporary accommodation on the same site, which is owned by Enfield Council. The academy is being founded by teacher Karen Chittiyo, who wants to set up a school with smaller than usual class sizes, allowing children to have increased attention from teachers. Each class in the academy will have no more than 25 children. As a free school, it will be able to manage its own curriculum and will not be under the control of Enfield Council. The planning application for the new building has been submitted, and according to a spokeswoman for the school, the Department for Education is happy with the site. Ms. Chittiyu said, "Pitfield Way will be a perfect home for our new school. Situated on Hertford Road, it is easily accessible for people from all over EN3, and even once our beautiful new building is up in September 2013, there will still be plenty of room for outside play space. This school will go some way towards easing the pressure that exists on primary school places in Enfield, as well as increasing choice for all parents. We very much look forward to welcoming our first cohort of pupils and their families in September. Our plan is to involve parents and pupils in the design of the new school over the coming months to ensure that the indoor and outdoor space is inspiring. The school's reception class is already oversubscribed, but there are places available in the Year 1 class for this September. The school will be run with a Christian ethos, but has a fully inclusive admissions policy and will offer an extended school day which runs until 4 p.m.
The couple have joined the Queen as they plan celebrations for their own Diamond Jubilee. Grace and Don Eldred will mark their 60th wedding anniversary on Thursday next week, and they will receive a congratulatory message from the Queen as she continues to celebrate her 60-year reign. Grace, 79, a former bakery manager, is a member of the Enfield League of Hospital Friends and works as a volunteer on the charity's tea bar at Chase Farm Hospital 2 days a week. Don, 80, worked at Enfield Cables for 50 years between 1946 and 1996. Having recently gone all out for Don's 80th birthday celebrations, the couple, of Broadlands Avenue, Enfield Highway, are planning a low-key family meal to celebrate their special occasion. They told the advertiser, "Our family are extremely close. All of our memories together are happy memories, so it'll be nice to see everyone." Don and Grace have 4 children, Christine, Michael, Sue and Gillian, 6 grandchildren, and 1 great-granddaughter. After 6 decades together, the couple remain active socially. They regularly attend Ponders End Working Men's Club in South Street and Enfield Highway, and the Working Men's Club in Ordnance Road, as well as playing bingo. Don and Grace holiday annually at Cala Bona, Mallorca, where they meet friends from all over the UK. The couple agree, "We socialise a lot and enjoy going out together." It may be a long time since they said their "I do's" at Edmonton Register Office in 1952, but Grace and Don say they have loved every minute with each other. When asked what they believe is the key to a lasting happy marriage, Grace replied, "You have to trust one another. It's all trust, really. You will have ups and downs in any marriage, but when it's good, it's marvellous. We have had a marvellous marriage."
And here's another wedding anniversary. A couple marked their silver wedding anniversary in regal style last weekend. Peter and Suzanne Simkin of Winchmore Hill celebrated 25 years of marriage aboard a Thames river cruiser on Saturday. The Elizabethan, a replica of a Mississippi paddle steamer with a luxury interior, featured heavily in the Queen's Jubilee flotilla, carrying the Middleton family and foreign dignitaries. It was also where Peter and Suzanne held their wedding reception a quarter of a century ago. Peter said the interior was just as nice as before. It has recently been renovated. The only thing that seems to have got older is me. After days of rain, revellers were blessed with a sunny evening for the party, and many of 100 guests had also attended the couple's wedding. The boat sailed up the Thames past the Houses of Parliament before returning to Tower Bridge, with the couple being serenaded by the Rocky Band, which featured in the Rocky Horror Show in the West End. Peter is a theatrical photographer and has written many BBC radio plays. Suzanne worked as a television production assistant for shows including Morecambe and Wise, Wish You Were Here, Miss World and the Barcelona Olympics in 1992, and she now works part-time for children's charity Action for Kids in Hornsey. They have one son, Sam, 23, and on their secret to a happy marriage, Peter said, "Don't compromise. Though peers get married and parents put you under pressure, you should wait for the right person."
Planning chiefs at Enfield Council are set to write to government ministers asking them to change the law to make it easier for them to stop the rising tide of high street betting shops. The move comes after a campaign by Enfield Southgate MP David Burrows, who opposed a planning application from bookmakers William Hill to change a vacant shop in Alderman's Hill, Palmer's Green, into a bookies. Following his campaign, the company decided to withdraw its application. A William Hill spokesman said the decision was made for commercial reasons. Chris Bond, Enfield's cabinet member for environment, said the council had limited powers to prevent betting shops opening and called for a change in the law to allow local authorities to restrict the number of bookies opening in the high street. He said he would be writing to Communities and Local Government Secretary Eric Pickles and told the advertiser, "In order to stop a betting shop opening, we have to prove that there has been some damage to the local community, and that is very difficult to prove. We have to do consultations and gather evidence that someone has been harmed by this, and it can take up to a year. Betting shops are very powerful, and it's a hard-nosed industry. I'm very concerned that there is another betting shop due to open near the job centre in Windmill Hill, Enfield. That is attacking the vulnerable. People who don't have much money will think about putting a few shillings on, and then it goes from there. They're given free cups of tea, so they can be very attractive places to stay. I'm hoping that planning officers from London councils will join me by writing to Mr. Biggles and nudging him a bit further on this issue." However, Mr. Burrows said that changes in the law had made it easier for councils to refuse planning applications, and councillors should be trying harder to put limits on shops that have negative effects on the high street.
The second annual Enfield Festival is already underway with a host of cultural events taking place this summer. However, organisers are facing criticism that the north-east corner of the borough has been ignored. The festival, which is running throughout the summer, includes the week-long N21 Festival, which will see a host of live music and arts performances on the Green, Winchmore Hill, from this Saturday. At the end of this month, there is the grand opening of the revamped 40 Hall. However, Enfield North MP Nick Dubois said that of the 67 festival events advertised, just 3 are in the north-east of the borough. He said that the council is not doing enough to include residents and businesses from Enfield Lock, Freezywater and Enfield Highway. "I welcome the positive benefits of the festival for the Enfield economy, but I want to see those benefits extended to the northeast of the borough," said Mr. Dubois. Residents and business owners will be asking, why is the council doing nothing for them? But Bambos Charalambos, Enfield Council's cabinet member for culture, leisure, youth and localism, said that there were events in northeast Enfield. He said Enfield's Jubilee beacon lighting at Albany Park was a recent major event, as was the Ponders End Creative Market, and there are sporting elements as well, such as Tai Chi in Albany Park. "We're sure Nick Dubois and his constituents will enjoy the variety of activity in their community this summer. There are a number of cultural, community and sporting events taking place in Enfield North as part of the Enfield Festival." This is the second year of the Enfield Festival, and Mr. Cheryl Ambrose said he wanted the event to be bigger than the first, to coincide with the Olympics. He added, "We want to rival something like the Brighton Festival, so people get used to coming to Enfield over the months. There is something here for everybody."
Now we've got 9 top water-saving tips. 1. Turn off the tap when you brush your teeth and save 6 litres a minute. 2. Thames Water customers can order free water-saving devices at www.thameswater, all one word, .co.uk/water wisely, all one word. So that's water wisely. 3. Try and finish your shower in under 4 minutes. 4. Keep a jug of water in the fridge to avoid waiting for the tap to run cold. 5. Have a water meter fitted so you can see how much water you're using. 6. Don't worry if the lawn turns brown. It will recover when it rains again. Ha ha ha. 7. Install a water butt in your garden. 8. Only run the dishwasher and washing machine on a full load. This uses less water than 2 half loads. And finally, 9. Fix leaking toilets. On average, a leaky loo wastes 2,800 litres a week.
Here's a little bit of cricket. A dramatic local derby ended in a draw on Saturday as Northampton Exiles' last wicket pair managed to bat out the final over to deny Southgate Adelaide victory in their clash in Division 3 of the Saracens Hertfordshire County Cricket League. James Peacock made 97 as Adelaide scored 188 batting first, and 8 balls still remained in the contest when the Exiles lost their 9th wicket. But Harit Patel and an injured Steve Langelier held firm as they closed on 154 for 9. Cockfoster's scheduled Division 1 clash against Hitchin was abandoned, while Holtwhite's Trinibys suffered a 14-run defeat at Leverstock Green in the 2nd Division, being bowled out for just 111 after the hosts had declared on 125 for 8.
And now we've reached the end of side 1 of this tape. Please stop your machine now, take out the cassette, turn it over and start side 2.